Well, just like training in air navigation is, pencil and paper and slide rule, circular slide rules in our case, the air calculator called the MB4. We do things very particularly in the black book world to ensure that technology can't interfere with it, and technology interaction is minimized as much as possible. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
somebody described it as, oh, so you're talking about basically a Waffle House. Then people were trying to figure out how the book works.
It's funny.
So what was it? Was your life the military was it a very like disciplined life? Was it just kind of like I don't know, to be under that level of discipline for so many years, how did it affect you think? Or did you just not notice it? It was just life.
Well, my dad raised us, and he was an NCO. He was a senior NCO before he retired. So we grew up in a very disciplined household, and we had to be. Look, his last assignment was in North Africa, in Morocco, in the late 60s, early 70s. And it was the only overseas assignment. He took us with him. And there were two attempts to initiate civil war by Islamists on the monarchy twice in those few short years that we were there. So we had to be very disciplined. I'll never forget the first time that it happened. We actually lived in a house downtown. We weren't living anywhere near a military base, and they didn't have American military bases there anyway. My dad was an advisor to the American Air Force and wore civilian clothes most of the time. And he worked on a Moroccan Air Force base. But anyway, the first time it happened, my mom and dad were at a party on the base, which was about 30 miles from downtown where we lived in Kenitra. And my brothers and I think my youngest brother was about 6 then, so I would have been 10 or 11. And it was night when the phone rang, and our mom was on the phone saying, "Hey, don't go outside. There are army trucks and tanks and people running around with guns and everything. We're going to send, the base is going to send a truck to pick you guys up and bring you into the base." And about 6 hours later, just before dawn, they showed up, and what come to find out, it was Islamists that tried to assassinate the king of Morocco, and they did it through the army. They had infiltrated the army, so we had to be very disciplined when mom or dad said, "Hey, you need to do X, Y, or Z." We were pretty clearly and well trained by that point. Even my 6-year-old little brother managed to keep himself under control. And then it happened again a year later. But this time it was the Air Force that had infiltrated. My dad was advising for us. So, and by that time we were living on that Air Force base, and the Army came and surrounded the base. And they came on the base and started arresting Moroccan Air Force people and everything. So anyway, it's a very interesting and disciplined life growing up. So I was used to that by the time I enlisted myself. And the jobs that I've been in, as you can imagine, are highly trained and highly disciplined when you're doing those kind of jobs. So I guess I just got used to it.
So what's it like working with, regular civilians that aren't as disciplined? Do you butt heads a lot? Was it difficult to transition?
No, in my case, I was very fortunate because that last job I had as the commander at Kirtland Air Force Base, a large part of my force was actually government civilians. And as a commander, you deal with like government union employees and those kind of things. So I've been doing that for many years. I'd worked in the Pentagon, which is mostly civilian employees, and for the most part, though, on the government side, a lot of them are prior military, so they're a little bit easier to get along with, but not all of them are. And you have to get used to that. And in my case, I was very fortunate. I got hired when I left the Air Force by a Fortune 500 utility company called Entergy Corporation. I was hired as the utility operations safety and training director for, what alignment is that goes out, works on put your wires back together after the storms and all that. Well, that's who I was the director of safety and training for, over about 4,500 of those guys spread across 5 states, I think it was, with 5 training centers, those kind of things. The utility companies are structured very organizationally, very similar to a military command structure. So I was very fortunate there. But the people themselves, most of them had not been in the military. So I was comfortable in the organizational structure, but I had a lot to learn working with folks that had not been in the military.